All right, let's take a look at this. This is my new setup. So let's see how it all goes. First off, I'm going to turn my music down because I don't know how loud that's going to be. But this is the first time I've ever done this, but I can see it right here on the screen, and it looks a lot better than just sitting in front of my computer. So right now, what this is going to be is something that's a bit more adaptive. One of the things that has been the most difficult for me is being able to pull myself away from my work in order to video game now. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love video games, but I have to choose. I have to pick and choose how I spend my time if I want to be able to accomplish everything that I want to. So, what I'm going to be doing is my streams. Most of my streams, I would say, are going to be along. They're going to be along this vein, where I'm going to be using my streaming time to be able to actually work on some of the creative, on some of the tasks that I have on my docket that are going to be more that are in line with maybe like my photography or some of my my passion projects or a personal endeavor such as Spaceman McMann, which is what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the stream to be able to sketch things out, and I'm going to also be using it to be able to conceptualize ideas and then eventually take armor that I already have, just like the basic layers, and then shape that into something that's a lot bigger and a lot more elaborate, but still light enough for, say, a dog to wear. So how it's going to work is that I'm going to start off with what I want to do is I want to be able to have the stream be more than just I want to have it be more than just just mindless content. I wanted to actually have I wanted to have purpose. I wanted to have substance, and I also want to be able to create something valuable. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting off each stream with 15 minutes of current events across a variety of industries, but not politics, because I hate politics. So there's going to be zero political talk in this stream. And instead, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing on like the tech industry, video games, or the entertainment industry in general, and I'm going to be there are going to be times I'm going to be doing things like a photo shoot, where I'm going to be explaining how say I do a particular lighting setup. Except for it's going to have this look. It's going to have a more polished and refined look, as opposed to just being like me setting up my cell phone. And how you doing, Kiryu? I think that you are the I can see that you are the first viewer in the chat. So how's it going? And you can tell this is a different sort of stream. And this is actually how a lot of the streams are going to be moving forward. We're still going to play video games, but I'm at a point where in order for me to be able to accomplish all the things that I want to, and that's creating things. That's creating things that people enjoy watching or people enjoy consuming. And in order to be able to do that, I have run into a situation where I don't have enough time in the day. So, and giving and devoting 2 or 3 hours, sometimes even more, to video games, that's a lot of time. So what I'm going to be doing is I thought maybe that after some conversations and seeing that these sorts of in real life streams are gaining traction, I would actually gravitate towards doing those than I would towards just gaming nonstop. We're of course going to be doing gaming because obvious reasons. So, sore and tired from work though. Like what kind of work? I thought you were going to say from the gym or something like that. But I'm doing great. It's a great start to the week. And I also know that one thing I'm going to be running into is that because I'm not using some of the buzzwords, not having like Call of Duty in the title or not having Fortnite in the title, then my streams aren't going to be as SEO friendly. But again, I think that it's the sort of thing where creating valuable content and creating valuable content and actually doing something that's different, and not just different, but something that's part of me. I mean, it's in my mind, this is something that would be more compelling over time. It would take time to build, building the reputation, and of course doing a better job of getting the word out. Ooh. So that's the thing. That's a different kind of tough. I have to say, that's a different kind of tough. Working in warehouses, tossing boxes, and especially working in the food industry. That's a full body workout. That's impressive. I didn't know that. So, but yeah, what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to be, well, first off, I want to and see how the volume is. Oh, well, okay, I need to turn down the music. Is that? There we go. That's a lot better. So, because I don't need to be having that sort of funky jazz playing at such a high volume. It's really there to just be able to fill in the silences. So, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through and starting each stream off with just like current events, apolitical current events. I'm not going to be doing anything political in my stream because I hate politics. So what I'm going to be doing is starting each stream off with like current events. So let's see. I need to figure out a better way to do this though. I think maybe that's one of these days. Okay, next stream. In fact, I'm going to be making notes on this. I need to have chat right here. I need to be able to have my computer right there. And I need to be able to also do live videos. Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, I'll have to DM him on Instagram and see if he's up for it. So let's see. Maybe if let's see if I do this. Let's see, YouTube. Two viewers. Thank you, 2 viewers. Q and whoever else it is. But I said before, I am absolutely not going to be. I'm not going to be dropping out. Like, as far as we know, Stitch is gone. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be gone. Because after last time, seeing that people were still sticking around, I'm like, Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. 2 viewers, 1 viewer, sometimes I'll even be talking to myself. I do not care. What I'm going to do is I think this would be a good chance to be able to go over and do a live video for my Instagram. Let's see. Let's see here. If I do this. Let's see, armor. Concepts. And building. So, let's see how that is. Oh yeah, no, Kira, I know exactly what you mean, because the entire reason why it's just that you just have to do it, and you have to do it consistently. And one of the biggest reasons why I can't do it consistently is because I'm not a full-time streamer. I stream part-time, but I also have a lot of fun doing it. So, and also, by the way, I'm also streaming live on Instagram right now. Hello, Instagram. I am doing I'm doing a live stream right now. I'm actually over on YouTube right now, but I'm going between the two, and I don't like to multi-stream because that drives my laptop into the ground. And Iron Void, how are you doing? I have to say, I'm pretty amped to see what you put together. Like, I'm serious. Like, I got myself measured. I sent it over to you. I saw that you saw that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And as soon as I get it, I'm gonna put together some pretty cool stuff, and I'll figure out a way to get it over to you. Again, if my signature means anything, then I'll sign it as well. So, but if you want to be able to see like the full setup, if you can head over to my YouTube, MJ Kreyzer. But I'm doing great. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be doing so like right now, I'm trying a new setup on my stream. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting each of my streams off over on like doing current events, but not political current events because I hate politics. I'm going to go through those just like big stories. With big stories with like tech, literature, movies, stuff like that, music, and then move on to the actual stream. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. So, we have some chat over here. Nemesis, how are you doing? After you messaged me last week, after you asked me that question about, how I lit that setup when I was shooting that mech action figure. That's for the character Sweetie, by the way, whose actual armor I'm going to be doing here. That got me thinking, and I feel like I need to do more streams where it's me doing my thing, and less video games, more doing. I love video games, but the problem is that it gets to be really hard to keep up with everything I need to do. And VBC, hi, how are you doing? The audio over here is not going to be as good as on YouTube. But if you're just dropping by on Instagram to say hi, how you doing? If you want to see more, then you can head over to my YouTube, MJ Kreyzer, where the live stream is running right now. But yeah, Nemesis. So, and Top, hi. Welcome to the stream. But Nemesis, yeah. So what I'm going to be doing is, it's not just going to be doing concepts, it's not just going to be doing armor building. There's even going to be some Kreyzer's Kitchen that I'm going to be doing, because I had a lot of fun doing that, and people have brought that up. But it's also going to be including, like photo shoots, lighting, like my personal lighting techniques. Like, I've been doing professional photography for 12 years now, and I've been doing professional photography for 12 years now, and I have my own very specific methodology, and it might be cool to show it off. Whatever value you found in it, that would be fantastic. So, first off, before I get over to the design, let's just go over and see some current events, because I think it would also be nice to be able to get current events without having to wade through all of the garbage, without having to wait for, without having to wade through all of the contentious rage bait that the algorithms throw our way, whether on social media or through aggregated news feeds. So this is a work in progress. This is the first time I've ever done a stream like this, but I like the idea. And plus, being able to be in an open area like this, to be able to do my stream, it feels a lot better than just kind of sitting down in my chair, because after a certain amount of time, it starts to get warm. So I'm going to be trying it here. So what I'm going to be doing is, first off, normally what it's going to be is after, it's going to be the starting student screen is going to be leading up until 3 o'clock, and then at 3 is when I'm going to be starting to doing the news segment, the current events segment. And again, I'd like to stress, excluding politics. I am entirely apolitical. I despise politics. And so we're going to be talking about fun stuff and cool stuff like technology, science, things like that. So, so what I do is I've pulled up some of those stories. We just go through them. So first off, we have got up on the docket in the tech industry, and these are going to be the biggest recent stories over the past week or so. A lot of these are going to be stories that you might have heard already, but I haven't. I don't read the news, so this is actually good for me as well. So in the tech industry, Apple says that there's going to be a major iPhone update coming. It's the iOS 26.2 apparently. Setting expectations for an update that goes beyond bug fixes. What it's apparently signaling is that Apple is accelerating a software cycle, and it's trying to say, what I'm reading right now is it's being designated as an arms race of features, especially, and you can see that. You can see that in the commercials. Like you can see it in, like I saw a Google ad the other day where people were walking around with ice cream cones, with vanilla ice cream, and they were holding up to the ear and talking, and they were waiting in line for, and the message was clear, is that, this is a, they were buying something that was just vanilla. It was an obvious jab at Apple. But I do have to say, though, is I have very much bought into the Apple ecosystem, and for good reason. I'm not an Apple salesman, but I would say that I used to be Android. I used to do the Galaxy series, and the Galaxy series seem to run into the same sorts of problems that PCs do, which is that they slow down after a certain amount of time. And not just that, but it seems like it seems like those phones, they aren't as compatible. Like with me, because I work with the Adobe Suite a lot, and the Adobe Suite just works like magic on Mac. I run within the Apple ecosystem. So I think I'm gonna move this right here. How does that look? That looks better. I run within the Apple ecosystem, so that's where I'm going to be living most of my life, and it would make sense. For me to have a device that can operate seamlessly between them, like iCloud, AirDrop, all these things, they work really well for me. But I mean, that's the thing. Is that's the way that commercial enterprise works. Is that you have companies competing for your money, and so I mean, it would make sense. It's like, people get up in arms about people who like things that might be in competition with things that they like. Case in point, the console wars, which are all but over, by the way. Now that like, what is it? Halo's coming to PlayStation 5, I think. What is it? The Halo remaster, which looks gorgeous, by the way. I think that's coming to PS5, if I remember correctly. So, and at that point, the console arms race is over. But it's a really odd thing to get up in arms about. A more relevant example would be the Battlefield versus COD argument, where people, it's like, if you like COD, then you have to hate Battlefield. If you like Battlefield, you have to hate COD. But, sorry, I need a stretch. But it's the sort of thing where it's like, you can like both. Like, you don't have to hate Battlefield because you like COD, or you don't have to hate COD because you like Battlefield. I mean, you can like both of them. But But Nemesis. So, the funny thing is that I haven't taken a single photography class in my entire life. I actually got my degree in film. But what I started to find is, like, first off, the principles of imagery, they carry back and forth pretty well between video and stills. I got my first camera, my 5D Mark III, which is actually what my A cam is. My 5D Mark III, I got that just out of college, and I got it so I could make movies with it, because cinema cameras back then weren't really accessible to people within my price range. So you had that was back in the day of the original Blackmagic cinema camera. That was the first time that you had raw video capabilities in that size of a package at that price point. I remember people just like losing their minds over it. So, but then what I started doing is, after that, I became a professional cinematographer. But then I ended up making more money on the weekends doing photography than I was making as a cinematographer. So I decided to shift from cinematography over to photography, and then from there it just became my career. So and everything I've learned about photography was driven by need, where like you'll have like all these different settings inside of the camera, where I actually didn't actively seek out these settings. What I did instead was I just started shooting. I have two sons. We'd go to the aquarium, and it was baptism by fire. Back in 2015, that's when I purchased my my second pro body, the 1DX Mark II, and it was outstanding. But the feature set on the 1DX Mark II versus the 1DX Mark I was a night and day difference. So as I started to use the camera, and especially going to the aquarium, there were so many different use cases that put me into a position where I had to actually, I had to be able to react quickly in difficult lighting conditions, and lighting conditions that shifted just like rapidly, with two little boys who were running. So I had to be, if I wanted to be able to get good pictures and sharp pictures in extremely dark lighting or extremely bright lighting, and then the rapid shifts between the two, I had to be very good with operating my camera instinctively. So the best way that I was able to learn all the feature sets was just by going out and shooting. And not just shooting like portraits and stuff, like asking friends, hey, come pose for me. It was the sort of thing where I was saying, you know what, I'm a professional photographer. I have the equipment, and there is nothing that's more worth my time or skill than my life, than like the life of my sons, than getting good photographic documentation of them growing up. So there was a period of time of about 3 or 4 years where just my camera never left my hip. Everywhere I went, even if we went to the park, there was my camera, and it became instinctive. But what got me into photography is because I like creating things. And first off, I'll learn to pay a pause so I can say hi to everybody over here on Instagram. So Vixen, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. How have you been? And Vampirizer, how are you doing? Just so you guys know, Vampirizer, they're over here on Instagram, and they had a fantastic ghost cosplay. And which it was especially more impressive considering how much more difficult it is to get tactical gear and the relevant items of kit over in Europe than it is over here in the States. So it was especially impressive. So like if you want to see some good work, then head over to their Instagram page. It's Vampirizer cosplay. Vampirizer, Vampriser .. So, good, Vixen. That's good. I haven't heard from you in a while. How have you been? And by the way, if I'm looking at the camera and then I'm looking here, it's like I'm talking to two chats. That's the reason why I might not be looking at you when I'm talking to you. It was because I'm keeping track of a lot. So, but no, Nemesis. Like if you take pictures that you're proud of, then put them up on the Discord. Because one thing, so like September, October, these were very busy months for me. And one of the hardest things, and I think that you guys can relate to, is that once you get out of a groove, Like, let's say you get into a really nice daily habit. I have I have a lot of items on my daily to-do list, and one of those items is dropping in Discord in the morning and dropping in at night. But then once you start having an atypical schedule, like say you go on vacation, like I went to Disneyland, and I can't be waking up at the same time, and I can't be waking up at the same time, which is 4 in the morning, by the way. You can't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're going to be running around Disneyland until 11 o'clock that night. So you have to be strategic with your energy expenditure. So Vixen, that makes me happy that you bring that up. So actually, I stopped using Twitch because like my stuff wasn't showing up. Like when I would stream on Twitch, there was a period of like 2 weeks where I had 1 or 2 viewers, and it was ridiculous. So I stopped streaming on Twitch, and then decided that it was probably best to just shift over to YouTube, and only YouTube, so that I wasn't splitting up my viewership, so that people knew exactly where to go. So I'm actually over on YouTube right now. So like I'm streaming right here, but I'm also streaming over on YouTube to that camera right there. So if you want to actually see like the actual setup with a better camera than my front-facing cell phone camera on iPhone 11, then jump over to YouTube, and it'll look a lot better. But no. So. Oh, and Mystique is in the chat. How are you doing, Mystique? I'm gonna have to figure out a way to be able to condense everything down into like one chat window. I know there's a way, but the problem is just that it's shoddy at best. So what I'm gonna be doing now is, again, the idea is that I'm going to be doing current events that have nothing to do with politics, because that seems to be the only thing that populates anything nowadays. And again, I hate politics. I should just wear it on my shirt so I don't have to say it again. So, let's see here. So, also in the tech industry, Google launches its AI assistant, voice assistant for TVs, and it's Gemini. And every time I go to the Google page, it's insistent that I use Gemini, but I'm not going to use Gemini. After all the lawsuits and stuff that Google's had to, they've been on the receiving end of with privacy violations, I'm good. I'm all right with Gemini. I without Gemini. So, but what they're doing is it's the sort of thing where you have Google Home, you have what is it? You have Google Home, you have Alexa, you have all these things that are constantly listening to. Which, by the way, everybody, it's in the fine print. I just want to hurry and take a quick sidetrack over to address this issue, because now that Google is launching an AI voice assistant for its TVs, I think it's something that's important to remember. Your Alexa is listening to you. Your iPhone is listening to you. Your phones are listening to you. When you download Instagram or you download Facebook or any social media app, you are giving your phone permission to listen to you and then use it for marketing purposes. It's in the fine print, and it's that apparently there was a time when we didn't put up with that sort of stuff, and then eventually we're just like, eh. So, but like Alexa, Google TV, always listening, always gathering intel, so that they can tailor your marketing, your advertising experience to your liking. For you, they're doing it out of concern and love and careful consideration for you as an individual. So that's what's going on there. So now Google's getting in onto the snooping game, but they're not going to call it snooping. It's for convenient AI assistants. So now not only will they be listening, but they're going to have a little AI module there to be able to actually more effectively internalize everything. So, yeah, Vixen, Twitch is really, that's the reason why it's like I have a lot of videos that I'm going to be putting over onto YouTube. I've been sitting on them, and it's just, I've been busy. But it's the sort of thing where really what it is that YouTube is a sort of thing where it's just when I'm not on YouTube and I'm not live, it's still helping me out. People can still see my live streams. People can go and see the other videos that I post. And not to mention, it is so much easier to work with YouTube and to stream to YouTube. It's a lot friendlier. And Big Brother. So Vixen, I hope that they aren't. Big Brother isn't watching, but he sure was listening. So, well, that's the thing. There's all sorts of ways that devices and technology figure out what it is that you like. So, like, one of the things is that people will say, I was having this conversation with somebody, and then less than an hour later, I got onto Instagram, let's say, and I saw an ad for it, and that's not a new one. That right there, that right there is something where it's just your phone is listening to you. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not some sort of random conjecture. It is, it is a demonstrable fact. It is in the fine print. Your phone is listening to you. So if you have a conversation about something, what was it? It was about laundry detergent. If you have a conversation with something about laundry detergent, then your phone hears that and it will post up ads for you. Another way that they do it is that if you get onto a Wi-Fi network, then your phone will be pulling the cookies of other devices on that same network. So if somebody else who's on the same Wi-Fi network as you pulls, let's say they do a search for, what is it? Let's just say Tim Tam. Tim Tam biscuits, those chocolate-covered biscuits from Australia. They're fantastic, by the way. And let's say somebody from somebody on a device on the same Wi-Fi network searches for Tim Tams. Then your phone will recognize that, and then it could potentially show you ads for Tim Tams because somebody else looked at it. But there are some ads that I have seen which I can't explain. Because there have been times when I haven't. In fact, I keep screenshots of it, where, and I think this one might have to do with some of the algorithms on social media, where they pay attention to how long you're looking at a particular post, say a video, and then the video itself, like their technologies, let's say you have a clip from Reservoir Dogs, and you see, Reservoir Dogs has Steve Buscemi. Then, let's say that you watch a clip from Reservoir Dogs and you watch it all the way through, and Steve Buscemi has a prominent role within that clip. Then you'll go down your feed further, and suddenly you'll start seeing stuff with Steve Buscemi. I don't know exactly how that one works. All I know is that I have seen actors in clips, and for movies that I enjoy. So it's like I watch this clip on the rare occasions that I open up Instagram. You'll watch a clip from a particular movie, and then suddenly you're seeing that actor all over the place. And I think that has to do with the fact that you've spent X amount of time watching a video clip, or at least you have interacted with a particular post involving this actor longer than you typically interact with other posts. So then they're thinking, oh, they like this post. Let's show them more of that stuff. Let's give them more Steve Buscemi. At least that makes sense to me. But really what it is social media is it's a commercial enterprise. That's what it is. Social media is a commercial enterprise, and the goal, and it operates like you don't have to pay for it. Social media exists. It's free. And if something is free, it means that we are the product. Our attention, our eyeballs, all these things, that is the product. Us seeing advertisements and then us buying stuff. That is the reason why, and that's more valuable than a lot of things. That's the reason why Google will make so much money on ad revenue. There's a lot of things, really, and if you want to be able to figure out how the Instagram algorithm works, or any social media algorithm for that matter, you have to look at it from the perspective of how can they tailor the app so that you are staying on it and interacting with things as much as possible. because the more you see, the more they interact, the more ads you look at, and the more you consume. It's just that is a demonstrable fact. That is something that you can actually plot out on a chart. In fact, go to Google Trends when you get the chance. This is a little anecdote. This is the reason why I don't. This is the reason why I don't use social media anymore, unless to make a quick post, say hi to some people, have a few social interactions, and then bugger off. So what it was is it started off. Here's the first instance that really set off some red flags. So I had watched I was with my significant other, and we were sitting down, and I was showing her a clip. It was a blooper reel from Anchorman 2. It involved Steve Carell and Kristen Wiig in the scene where they're freaking out in the office, and what it was I showed her that, and then suddenly I'm going over to bloopers for SNL. I don't watch SNL, but Kristen Wiig is funny, and and the blooper reels involving her and Bill Hader are fantastic. So we're going over there, and I show her the blooper reel for those SNL sketches with Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig on YouTube, and then 10 minutes after the fact, 10 minutes after I show her that video, that blooper reel, I go to a news site for local news, and they had a story about Kristen Wiig on how she was going to be hosting SNL on that night. That night, the night that I had looked at this blooper reel and then I looked at the Anchorman reels, she was going to be hosting SNL. But even creepier, even more unsettling, was the fact that the image that they used for the news article was the exact same image from the YouTube video that I had just watched. It was the thumbnail. And so what I decided to do is I wanted to see how this is tracking. I went over to Google Trends, and if you want to do this sort of stuff, you can. It's like this. You don't have to subscribe or anything. Just go to Google Trends and type in any search term, and you can see just how much interest there is in that subject over the course of a day, a week, a month, 90 days, a year, and beyond. And you can just see it plotted out on a line graph, and it was unsettling, because what I saw was that around the same time that I started showing my lady friend these clips from Anchorman 2 and these blooper reels from SNL. That was around the same time that I was showing her those. That was around the same time that interest in Kristen Wiig started going up. Now, it's important to note that these weren't things that just popped up on my suggested for you feed on YouTube. These were things that I sought out myself. I typed it in because I think Anchorman 2 is hilarious. And what I did was, again, it wasn't like something shows up on the main feed on Netflix, and then suddenly, interest in it spikes because everybody's being served up the same suggested content. This was stuff that I searched for myself. And that's when I realized that, and these were all things that I did consciously. I thought I was making a conscious effort to actually seek this content out. But then it turns out that my actions fell in line with the actions of millions of other people. And I didn't like that, because suddenly I realized that even though I thought I was consciously making these decisions, with the numbers involved, it was clear that I was not making these decisions. Something had compelled my behaviors and my interests in such a way that my body was, my brain was doing its own thing. But my conscious mind thought that it was doing its own thing, and that actually that wasn't just unsettling. That was actually terrifying. So that's why I was like, the only way to win the game is to not play. And that's the reason why, if you guys are ever wondering why I'm so scarce on Instagram, it's because of that. It's because we all consume the same media. And it makes sense when you think about it. We all consume the same media. we all consume, and you could probably boil it down. You could probably point to social media algorithms and news aggregation algorithms as the primary culprits. Where, so let's say, you have 1,000 different opinions about something. Let's say that it is movies. Let's say you have, just hypothetical scenario. Let's say that you have 100 movies that come out at once. That's a lot of movies. But social media, because it wants to be able to show up the most interesting content for you, because it wants you to stay engaged for as long as possible, it is going to determine which of these movies is the most interesting, and then it's going to ignore the rest. So let's say you have 100 movies, but 10 of these movies are the most interesting movies. So these other 90 movies, they get pushed to the side, they get forgotten. And suddenly you have 100 different movies getting funneled down into 10. And then, to make it so it's even more targeted, it determines which of these 10 movies, or let's say which 3 movies out of these 10 movies are the most popular. So then what it does is then it prioritizes these other 3. It might not necessarily just ignore these other 7, but it's still the sort of thing where they are going to get less traction than these other 3. And then suddenly you have 100 different movies where 97 of them have been given, or where 90 of them have just been forgotten entirely. 7 of them have been given a low priority, and then 3 of them are the ones that get seen all the time. And then it's this exponential growth in engagement because everybody's seeing these 3 more, and then it's this cascading effect where you only see 3 movies down your feed, which means that more people are going to be interacting with these like posts and articles involving these movies, and less are going to be interacting with anything related to these other 97. So pretty soon you could have like 100 different movies, all with their own merit, but only 3 of them are being seen. The same thing can be said of opinions, where you could have, and this is the biggest danger of social media, where it turns into a giant echo chamber, where you can have 100 different opinions, but then suddenly 100 opinions get filtered down into 10, and then 10 opinions get filtered down into 2, and then suddenly you have a very stark dichotomy of two polar opposite opinions, where suddenly it seems like everybody in the world is either all the way over here or all the way over here, and that exists for engagement. That's the reason. That's why algorithms exist. Algorithms exist to be able to maximize engagement. So that's why. First off, that's why I stay off of social media. That's why I stay away from mass media in general, because it's not just like a suspicion. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is something that you can look at on a graph. You can see numbers, and you can actually observe it in numbers in real time, and it's happening. It's observable, and it's actually pretty simple. And if you ever want to be able to see if what I'm saying is true, just literally Google Trends, type in any trend. In fact, this is a fun little exercise. Go to the last thing that you saw on that you bought off of Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram, off of Amazon. Go to the last thing that you bought off of Amazon, and then go over to Google Trends, and then just type that into the search bar, and then look at when interest in that particular item goes up, and it will terrify you. And that's the thing. So Ironford, that's a really good point, and it's an important point, because what happens is that people see their first exposure, like the first time that they're exposed to a particular issue or concept, is going to be through these posts. Like they're being primed. This isn't anything conspiracy theory related. This is just how things work. This is how storytelling works. This is why movies and books have prologues that are a lot of times are just completely detached from the rest of the story, because a prologue in a movie or in a book primes the viewer. It said it's like, let's say you want the rest. Whatever the prologue is, you will be reading. You'll be experiencing the rest of the story with that prologue as context. So if the prologue is darker and it's a bit more unsettling, then the rest of the story is going to be experienced with that dark, unsettling context as a primer. And antithetically speaking, it could be something happy, bright, and cheery. That could be the primer. But then let's say it's happy, bright, and cheery, and then the rest of the story is dark. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can play around with primers and story. And the same thing could be said about people's opinions. The same thing could be said about what we see on social media. And how's it going, Nick? Welcome to the stream. We're just talking about the way how social media is and news aggregates make it difficult to be able to actually have a varied opinion, to where instead of having 100 unique opinions, the world really just kind of gets boiled down to 2, because that's where the most engagement is taking place. Engagement is the culprit. We are the product. And again, it sounds like counterculturist bullcrap, but it actually it's observable. It's something that you can see in real time. Again, you can see it in numbers. You can see it on charts. Just go to Google Trends. I mean, if you don't believe me, go to Google Trends and just start looking at stuff. It is a rabbit hole of information, but it's real information, and it's happening in real time. So it's and if nothing else, it's actually kind of fun as well. It's like a horror movie where, a horror movie can be scary, but you still go because it's kind of fun. So that's the news segment. Not all of it, but it's like this actually is resulting in more conversation than I thought. That's a good thing, though. Let's see here. Look at this one. So, streamers double down on pause ads. Streaming platforms are increasingly inserting ads when viewers pause content. Let's see, that may be a frustration for users, but also a clear sign that streaming services are under pressure to monetize more aggressively as competition heats up. And this falls in line with maximizing engagement in social media. The world is turning into a place where it's just trying to cram as many advertisements in as many places as possible. Because the numbers are clear. It works. People see ads and they will buy. We might not think that ads work, and then we're saying, oh, we're above that. We really aren't. In fact, if you're someone who buys a lot of stuff off of Amazon, I challenge you, stop using social media for a week. Yeah, for a month. I know that might be difficult for a lot of people, but stop using social media for like a month and see how your buying habits change. It's another terrifying revelation. And actually, so Iron Void. So that's actually an idea that I've always. It is the trajectory of all. It's the trajectory of all capitalist societies. It's just the way that it works. Where you'll look back at the early 20th century, right, where you had a bunch of different competitors. Mid 20th century, you had and then going up in the 70s and 80s, you had Kmart, you had Shopko, you had Walmart, you had all these different retailers, and then over time, that either one starts to get bigger because of good leadership, luck, maybe a combination of both, and then so one of them starts to get big, and as soon as they get bigger than everybody else, they get progressively bigger, and then the other guys either fail or get bought out. So the trajectory of capitalism across all industries, it's just the way that it works, is that you'll have a lot of different options, but then as time goes on, one will start to get bigger than everybody else, and then they will grow, and then the bigger they get, then the more they grow, and it is exponential growth. It is logarithmic, and then everybody else starts to get smaller and smaller. The same thing could be said about the economy, about economics. The same thing could be said about social media, even where you'll have influencer pages getting bigger and bigger, and because they have more engagement, they get priority. So it's like now on social media, it's very difficult to be able to build a big following because the algorithms say, hey, this person has 150, 200,000 followers, and they posted this, and this person over here has like 150 followers. We're going to show this post instead, and everybody else gets buried. So it all works that way. And grocery stores are avoid to be more on the nose about it. That's exactly the way that works. So I'm not sure what's over there in Europe, but over here, it's like Walmart. You have Walmart, Winco, or at least in my part of the country, you have Walmart, Winco. You have, I think at Target, I think Target might have grocery aisles, but they're terrible. But there used to be a lot of grocery store options, but not anymore because people go to the big ones, and then the big ones also get better opportunities. They get they get better prices on produce and the staples. They get better prices on the staples. They can get them in bulk, and they can sell them at cheaper prices, and then that results in them getting even more business, and then just the cycle continues. So that's the reason why it's like I steer clear, because it does have an impact on us. Like everything that we consume, not even consume, even if it's just passive, everything that we hear, whether we realize it or not, see, touch, taste, or smell, all of these things are being projected across our sensorium, and then they are dispersing to the respective corners of our brains, and they are having an impact. Even if we don't really realize, even if we don't even realize it, but it's happening. Let's see here. Reading a comment over here on Instagram from Me versus Sketchbook. Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing. And there are strategies, and Sketchbook. I'm going to call you Sketchbook. There's strategies that are put to work that a lot of people don't know about. It's a constantly evolving machine where they'll employ a tactic. It's kind of like how social manipulation has evolved over time. Like there was a time when the first person to it's like the first person who discovered reverse psychology. They looked at their friend and they said, "Hey, I bet you can't do this." And their friend's like, "Oh yeah, well just watch me." And then suddenly, eventually the friend catches on. He says, "Oh, I bet you can't do this." And the friend is like, "I see what you're doing." And then they don't do it. And the person who's trying to manipulate them does not have the desired effect or the desired result. So then they have to get better at it. So it's this constant back and forth of tactics being employed, people getting wise to it, and then advertisers and I'm going to call them hucksters getting wise to it, or adapting, growing, and getting even more effective at it. At being able to slide things under the door to the point where we don't even realize that we're being marketed to, and it's communicating on a subliminal level. And subliminal, that's not pseudo psychology. That's something that actually happens. Let's say subliminal is basically another way of saying of you thinking about something. Subliminal messaging. It's you thinking about something without there being any specific trigger for it. It's like what was it? It was like, I think there was a very old Simpsons episode where they said there was a recruitment video and they're saying Yvonne Etniage, and then all of a sudden everybody had they were compelled to join the Navy, and because Yvonne Etniage was actually joined the Navy backwards, and but that was a joke example. But let's say it's subliminality isn't something that always takes place. It isn't exclusive to marketing. It's something that can just happen. Case in point, if I go to the mall, nearby me, there's a mall that I like to go to because it has the game Dance Rush, and Dance Rush is dope. And I go to play Dance Rush, and then there is a fountain, and I smell the bromine in the fountain. Bromine, by the way, for those of you who don't know, bromine is it's a purification chemical that gets put into water to keep it clean and make it so you don't have any sort of algae growth, bacteria, stuff like that. Whenever I smell bromine, I think of Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't have to look anywhere. I don't have to see any Pirates of the Caribbean branding. I don't even have to see a pirate. All I have to do is smell bromine, and suddenly I'm thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean. There's these sorts of triggers all over the place. and advertisers use these to fantastic effect. And that's what I'm saying. The only way for you to be able to actually not be impacted by these things is just simply not play the game. And smell is a very powerful thing, by the way. So wow, geez, see, that's thing. All it takes is one headline, and suddenly I am off. So let's go to the next headline here. A big TV show is wrapping up with a purpose. Okay, so this is why. That's where I wish that headlines would be a little bit more specific, but they want you to read more. Stranger Things is wrapping up this month, everybody. Now, I'm not exactly a big Stranger Things guy, but oh man, sorry, I just need to stretch real quick. There we go. I'm not exactly a big Stranger Things guy, but I let my sons watch it because I've heard the sorts of things that they watch when they're with the ex, and I realize that Stranger Things is pretty tame. So, not like I'm gonna. Anyway, that is an entirely different can of worms. So we're not going to go down that path. But what I am going to say is that for those of you who don't know, Stranger Things Season 5 is releasing this month, and it's releasing in parts. First half comes out this month. I think it is the 26th, actually, of this month. And then you have the second half releasing on Christmas Day, and then you have the final episode releasing on December 31st. And that's going to be happening, and the kids are going to be, I think they're like 21 now, and they're going to be playing 14-year-olds, so that'll be fun. I don't know if they're doing de-aging. I remember there's some controversy around that, but we'll see how it turns out. At the very least, there's going to be strange things happening. But it'll be interesting. I lost interest around season 2, but now I'm going to this right here is going to this is a controversial thing because this is a controversial take because I don't have any definitive proof. All I have to go off of is things that I have observed. So, Stranger Things Season 1, and you have Stranger Things Season 2. Now, based off all the information that I have, as well as seeing the stark difference, like the massive shift in tone and the style of storytelling between Season 2 and Seasons 3 and 4, I honestly believe that the Duffer Brothers had they had some significant. They were heavily influenced by something else. I feel like the basis of the story. I feel like the concept of it. I feel like the story beats, all those things, like the way that the story was told. I get the feeling that, I'm not saying this is fact. All I'm doing is I'm just saying what I observe. There is a massive difference in the style and the way that the story is told, the tone, like the mood, just the overall vibe. There's a massive shift between seasons 2 and then seasons 3 and 4. So if you go back to season 1, look at the way that characters were written and the way that their stories were portrayed. Each character, like season 1 was season 1 of Stranger Things is, I would argue that it is one of the greatest seasons of television of all time. It was incredible. Each character had a role, each character had purpose, and each character had meaningful experiences. They had arc, where they started off as one character, and through their experiences during the season, ended up as somebody else. So, some people it was for the better, some people it was for the worse. And you had, and then, and if you think about it, though, if you go back, season 1 of Stranger Things didn't have jokes in it. Like it was, it had humorous parts that made you chuckle, but like there weren't any like set up jokes. It was actually pretty straight faced, and the result was something spectacular. The humor came from just witty side comments, just little jabs. A lot of them from Hopper, and then past that point. You had like the way that the story was written, the way that it built, the way that it was like the way that they understood dread. Here's kind of like here's a basic breakdown of the way that you create the feeling of dread. And the way that you do that is that you create a sense of inevitable conflict, of something awful about to happen in a story, and like imminent. It's like not just like, okay, something will eventually happen, is that the viewer, it is absolutely clear in that moment that something bad is about to happen right now. But then what you do to be able to create the dread is you don't just do it immediately. You have a 1 beat and then a 2 beat, and then it happens. After it becomes clear, after you can actually see what's happening, you have a 1 beat and then a 2 beat, and then you have the thing happen. It draws out across those 2 seconds, and the result is the feeling of dread. It has much more punch and impact than just simply, like, say, a jump scare. So, and the way that the plot was structured, the way that the story was structured, it was 100%. It's a night and day difference. It's like, in fact, like, you watch seasons 1 and 2 of Stranger Things, it's like they don't even feel like the later seasons. Like, the later seasons feel like they were written by somebody who didn't understand what made the first season, especially, work the way that it did. Like, case in point, it's like in season 3 especially. I felt like season 3 was gratuitous, beyond belief. Like, I remember watching season 3 just going, this is shameless. This is bad. Like the Starcourt Mall. It's like, because remember, like, when Stranger Things season 1 came out, people were like, oh man, it's so cool. You have, like, look, it's like the 80s. Remember this TV show? Remember this, like, cool toy, this Millennium Falcon thing over here? Like, do you remember that? I remember that. It's just member berries up to your neck. And then season 3 comes along, and it's like the Duffer Brothers are like, oh man, people love the 80s. Here, take all the 80s. Here's every last thing from the 80s that we can think of. Then you have like just like a supercut of everything 80s, of like the inside of the mall. It's like the entire plot of season 3 was structured around their desire to cram as much 80s into one location as possible. Like, what better way to be able to do that than at a mall? You can show off fashions. You can show off the old stores. You can show off obsolete branding. It's like you can do everything that you want to, as far as being able to just, like, throw as much 80s at the viewer as possible. And it didn't make sense. And there's too many characters now. There's like 1,000 characters. In the original seasons of Stranger Things, whenever the kids went out to try and solve a mystery, you were worried for them because you're just kids. You're not going to be able to do it. You're just kids. And sure enough, they did not make a difference. Every time they went out, it was ill-advised, and they about got themselves killed. The adults actually did the solving because that's kind of what would happen in these sorts of situations. But then later, you had the kids going and taking on the Russians. And you had Lucas, and people are, I might take crap for this, but like Lucas's little sister, like, it's just like that takes me out of the experience so much, because first off, she is like, they made her into being the most obnoxious individual that you could possibly have. But he's like, and she treats everybody like garbage. Like, I don't like people who treat other people like garbage being put off cross as being heroes. Like, oh man, they're just sassy. No, they're mean. But no, the way that they handled season 3, especially, like, they cut away, like, they had an entire dialogue scene to have, so the characters could talk about what was it? It was Coke versus New Coke. And like Lucas and Mike going back and forth talking about the two different kinds of Coke. And you're just thinking, okay, we get it. Coke paid you to plug this. Please stop. But that's why it makes me happy that we have television shows like Fallout. Because, we have first half of Stranger Things this month, second half of Stranger Things next month, and then we have the final episode of Stranger Things on December 31st. But then halfway through the month next month, we've got Fallout Season 2, everybody. And if you want some good writing, then yeah. And Mystique, yes. For me, I know that some people liked the joke. I know that some people thought that it was funny. The whole, like, them singing the song from the Neverending Story. But you had a chance. They had a chance to do something cool. They had a chance to be able to have an intense moment that was cool and unsettling with, like, the obvious Dead Space monster. It's like that thing was like literally a necromorph. Like, okay, I'm branching back a bit because I feel that the Duffer Brothers borrow heavily from other people's ideas, and I just say they shouldn't get away with it. But look at the creature, at like I think it was like the Mind Flayer was able to take some sort of shape in Season 3, which again, it was cool. But for me, it was cool because it was probably the closest we'll ever get to a live-action necromorph, you know, from Dead Space. But here's how the things actually come to be actually, no. For those of you who have seen Stranger Things, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually say what I'm describing. I'm just going to describe what happens, and then you can tell me which one it's from. So, you have the organic matter of a human body, and it gets broken down into a type of sludge, and then it is repurposed into other things. Sometimes it sometimes the sludge is repurposed into a sort of like growth, kind of like it spreads everywhere, on the walls, on the floor, just this sort of organic overgrowth that spreads everywhere. Or the organic material can coalesce into something much larger, into a larger body, into a larger monster. So you have a large monster that is built up of all the combined organic material of all of these bodies. Which one am I describing? Anybody who's seen Stranger Things Season 3, can you guys tell me which one I'm describing? Am I describing Dead Space or Stranger Things? And I don't know if anybody's going to answer. I'm just going to say I described them both. You can literally describe both of them the exact same way and end up with the exact same thing. It even looked like a necromorph, which again, I was fine with. But it didn't have this sort of like intense uncertainty and and the feeling of strangeness that Season 1 of Stranger Things had. That's why I feel like somebody had a massive influence on the story and the concepts and the overall tone of Seasons 1 and 2, and that person was not the Duffer Brothers. That right there, I'm convinced of that. I'm not saying it happened. I'm saying that there's a lot of evidence to support it. But no, yeah, Sketchbook Fallout Season 3. Or I meant to say Fallout Season 2. It's like Fallout Season 1 was so well written. Now we're going to the opposite end of the spectrum. The writing for Fallout, the television series, was immaculate, and I have no reservations in using that word, immaculate. Like the pacing, the arc, creating characters that you can engage with, and the characters that you're interested in actually knowing what happens to them. Because that's one of the hardest things to be able to do, is to create a character where you're actually interested. You're actually concerned about how their story is going to turn out. That is a difficult thing to do. And sometimes it's something that you can make a conscious effort to do, but most of the time it's something that just sort of happens. It's like blind luck, but then you have people latch onto them, and then suddenly it takes off. And Fallout is just like the entire cast of Fallout. Like, all the characters in that story worked. And Iron Void, it makes me really happy that you would say that Dead Space is top shelf, because it absolutely is. When you go through, one of the problems that I have with the way that the internet works is that people have a tendency to hop on the bandwagon. They don't form their own opinions. They just jump on a bandwagon and then just write it. Dead Space 3, the general opinion, like the general consensus on Dead Space 3 was that it sucked. But that's just the nature of the internet. It's like stuff is either incredible or it sucks. There is no in between. But Dead Space 3 was good. But because people have a tendency to bandwagon, what happened was the general consensus ended up being Dead Space 3 sucked. I love Dead Space 3. It wasn't scary, but it was intense. Dead Space 2 was a combination of intensity and scary, and then Dead Space 1 was just pure, unbridled sci-fi space horror. Dead Space 1 is one of the greatest. I would argue that it is the greatest horror video game of all time, and I will die on that hill. And that's the thing. Iron Void is like I've never actually played the like the Fallout games, and I would like to. But when games get to be a certain age, I never really know if the graphics are have aged to a certain degree, where suddenly there isn't like where suddenly it's like the graphics have aged so much that would take me out of the experience. But I love open world video games, which was And speaking of open world video games, Grand Theft Auto 6 getting delayed. Oops. But yeah, Vampirizer, Fallout was incredible, and we get season 2. So, and I'm looking forward to that. So that right there, I think those are the big stories in the entertainment industry, because and this is interesting. So if you look at my schedule right over here on this side of the screen, it says reading the news for 15 minutes. That isn't actually what happened. So, but what we're going to do now is there's actually more news stories, but I'll cover that in the next stream. The news isn't going anywhere. The stuff that has happened has already happened, and it will always have happened, unless of course there's some sort of Mandela effect, is Berenstein Bears spelled S-T-E-I-N or S-T-A-I-N? That is the ultimate Mandela effect right there. Okay. I have talked a lot, nonstop, but this is fun. I like this format. This format works. And maybe this is what it ends up being. Maybe it just ends up being like a sort of podcast. But I'll show you what my intention was. So if you guys are on Instagram and you wanted to see like what's happening, like what I'm talking about right now, you could jump over to a YouTube MJ Kreyzer. So, but like right here, so check this out. So. There we go. That is the reason why. Because I have two scenes. I have the audio didn't turn off. I made an amateur mistake, and I didn't put the audio source into the new scene. Because I have two scenes. See, look. So single camera, bam, and then two camera, and maybe. That's the one thing about the Stream Deck, is that it kind of lags. Let's see. See, look at that. It took a lot. So, You know, SketchUp, that'd be fantastic, because like what I had to do is I had to learn Blender from scratch. So what I started doing is I tried using, I've gone through a lot of iterations, and this is the primary reason why I have gone back and I have, this is the primary reason why I've gone back and tried to redo everything, is because I started off never having touched a 3D program. All I knew was photography, video, and I didn't even know how to print armor. I didn't even know anything about 3D printing. All I started off was my photography equipment and a laptop. And then as time went on, I realized I had to learn how to be able to make the armor, because I couldn't just like, I don't know, it had to exist. And I couldn't just use 3D models, because 3D models is like, suddenly it's not real. So I had to be able to create the armor. I had to wear the armor. So I had to learn how to be able to make the armor, prep it, wear it. Some of it's casting, some of it's just 3D printing. Like some of it's foam armor, depending on how much it's going to be used, like whatever. I had to learn all of that. And then after learning that, I had to come up with all the different production techniques. Like, how am I going to be able to like take the pictures and take a lot of pictures while also wearing the armor? Like what's the workflow going to be like? The workflow itself is probably what I am most proud of, because that is what has taken the most work. But the workflow ended up being pretty nuts. But now it is streamlined, and it is like I'm proud of it. It's on point. But yeah, Sketchbook, like the 3D models, is like I started learning Blender about a year and a half ago, and it made like a huge difference. And oh, Sketchbook. Okay, so now we're putting 2 and 2 together. So, so everybody on YouTube, so Sketchbook and Iron Void, because, you know, I'm not sure what level of privacy you're looking for, they know each other. Iron Void has Stitch's mask, the Yard Dog mask, and from season 4 of Black Ops 6, which I loved when I first saw. He has that mask, and Sketchbook designed it. Because I haven't been able to see any in-game models of Yard Dog. I remember back during Cold War, people were just able to pull them all over the place and create some pretty cool stuff. But I haven't seen anything like that with Black Ops 6, so I'm not sure if anything has changed. But Sketchbook modeled Stitch's Yard Dog mask from scratch, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's cool. And I don't want to actually say like what's going to be going on with it, because I want it to be a surprise. Iron Void knows what's going on, so but like everybody else, it's going to be it's going to be incredible. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And they're all the way over in Europe too, so it's going to be wild. But I can't wait for you guys to see it. But what I'm doing here. In fact, what I'll do is, like, maybe I can... What I'll do is I'll just... I kind of show you guys, maybe give you, like, a sneak peek of what Spaceman McMann looks like. So I just go into my Dropbox. Just so you guys can actually see kind of like what... what it is that that Spaceman McMann is. I mean, it has been a lot of work. And... but the shape that it's taken, I couldn't be happier with it. In fact, I think that amped is the best adjective that I could use. So let's see here. So let's go to chapters. And what I had to do was, like, in doing a live-action graphic novel, I realized that, oh, DJM, welcome to the stream. I have 2 streams right now. I have one on YouTube, and I have one over here on Instagram. So it's a new format, but I'm enjoying it. So, like, this is good. It's more interactive, and plus, like, you know, this video looks nicer. Like the production quality on this is much higher than it was otherwise. It wasn't just like me sitting in a computer chair. As nice as that chair is, it is a Secret Lab chair. But let's see here. So I swear I backed it up somewhere. So chapters. Yeah. I guess I don't have it backed up. Oh, it's on my files. So if I come into here, recents. Here we go. So this is for review. So this right here is kind of what it looks like. I'll hold it this way so you can kind of see. So this right here, this is the actual chapter 1. And if you're on Instagram, then you won't be able to see this because I'm using the overhead camera. This right here is chapter 1, where what I do is I pose in the armor. I go through a variety of poses. I write the script. I storyboard it, and then I pose in front of the camera. I make a shot list, and then I do the poses in front of a camera, a green screen, clip everything. So this right here is chapter 1, and I experimented with a bunch of different things, like sound effects, text bubbles, and in fact, I actually abandoned text bubbles altogether because they took up too much of the frame. I wanted to be able to show off the imagery. So, let's see, there we go. And then what I do is then I composite them onto the shot that was built in a 3D program, hence me learning Blender. And then I combine everything. I combine the images that I took suited up. I combine the backgrounds that I made in Blender. And then I take the dialogue that I took from and then I take the dialogue in the script and the action lines, combine it all together, and then I make it work as a live-action comic book. Or at least I hope it works. Thank you, Sketchbook. I appreciate that. And it looks a lot better when it's actually, you can actually see it on the screen. And that's the difficult part, is that it's something that'd be hard to that'd be hard to be able to actually get printed physically, because it is a boatload of color. But like this right here, let's see, there we go. So this right here, like this is the inside of the ship. Built the ship from scratch. Now, one thing that is going to be difficult, like one of the most difficult things that I've had to do, like that, as far as telling the story is concerned, one of the most difficult things is being able to make a serious, intense sci-fi space opera with mech warfare in particular. Make that intense when you have, like, what about to talking dogs? But one of the primary reasons. Oh, by the way, over here so you guys can see. So this is from chapter 1. All the environments are made. The mech is real. It's a toy that I created. Make all the environments, make the entire scene, and then I build it out. I've built out an entire history. I built an entire background. Everything, every aspect of the story is told with purpose. But Iron Void, Vampirizer, I appreciate that. It's because I've worked hard, and there's a ton of story. In fact, there's 450 pages of it. But I'm going back, and the story has evolved just a little bit over time. So I'm going back and making sure that everything aligns. But the reason why there's talking dogs is because I'm trying to put as much stuff from my personal life into it as I possibly can. It's the sort of thing where I want to make it so that it's almost like a journal, except for not just like, oh, here's my life. I like this, I like that. It's taking everything that I love and then cramming it into the story. Like, one thing that I love is Titanfall. But I don't think we're ever going to get Titanfall 3. In fact, I stopped holding out hope years ago. But then, every time you get over it and you're able to move on with life, some jackweed comes in and says, "Oh, Titanfall 3 it's in development." And you're like, "Oh man," you just get so excited, you just get giddy. And then it's like, "Oh wait, no, they canceled it." And Titanfall 3 isn't going to happen. It should. It is the greatest action shooter of all time. And again, this comes from the guy who is Stitch in Call of Duty. I have a very personal connection to the Call of Duty franchise, and even then, Titanfall, in my opinion, is the greatest action shooter of all time. But we're never going to get it again. So I love that concept. I love like Titanfall. I remember the first time I played Titanfall 1 Xbox. I remember just getting chased down by an enemy Titan. This is the first time I ever dropped in. I had no idea what was going on. It was bigger and more explosive than anything I had ever expected. I'm getting run down by an enemy Titan, and then for the very first time playing that game, I hear the, you know, I hear that, I hear that, you know, like the robotic male voice come over. Pilot, your Titan is good to go. Call it when ready. Hit down on the D-pad, then suddenly my Titan rains in from orbit, hits the ground, and then, you know, as I'm approaching it, it says X to enter. And then from a first-person perspective, never leaving it, Titan grabs me around the vest and then shoves inside the chest. Top hatch closes, the canopy closes, and suddenly there's a small, like, there's a 1 to 2 second period of just blackness where, you know, like, we're not sure where the enemy Titan is. All you know is that they're still out there. And then suddenly everything comes up online, and then you're good to go. Like, that feeling is just one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in any video game. In fact, I'd probably say it is the coolest feeling I've ever had in a video game. Titanfall is unmatched, and we're never going to get a third one. So why do I talk about how much I love Titanfall? Because that's the reason why I'm adding that sort of mech warfare into Spaceman McMann. Because it's because I'm treating Spaceman McMann and the stuff I put into it in a lot of ways like a journal. All the things that I love, all the things that you know, like homages or references to, you know, my favorite movies or music, things like that. But then, coming full circle, why are there 2 Scottish Terriers in there? You know, that talk. The reason why is because I have 2 Scottish Terriers. You know, Sir Winston and Sweetie. There's actually a third one now. His name is Gunner. We got a new one. But his name is Gunner. But the 2 that are in the story are Sir Winston and Sweetie. Like, in fact, check this out. I'll show you. Hi, Winston. Oh, Mr. Barnes. Okay, there you go. Oh. So this right here is Winston. I'll go to main cam. There you go. And let's see. It's not switching. There we go. Okay, there we go. So this right here is Sir Winston. He is a Scottish Terrier, and they are very hard to find nowadays. Now, believe it or not, this guy right here he's almost 13 years old. And he has all the energy in the world. Isn't that right, Winston? He's a good boy. And so, like, Scotties have a very unique look. So like Iron Void, what you do with a Scotty, so it's like they have the beards and they have the skirts. So what you do is you cut them short right here, and you give them like a little, you know, it's like a skirt. And then when you wash them, you fluff them out. It's like they're running around on a cloud. So, but this is Sir Winston, and Sir Winston is one of the characters. Go lay down, Winston. Oh, you're a good boy. Like, those 2 characters are like they're main characters in the story, because it originally started off as a children's book, actually, one that I drew, and I was making sure. Oh, good boy, he didn't hit the wires. So, I appreciate that, Iron Void. So I have 2 other Scotties. Sweetie, her registered name is Lady Ellington, and then you have Gunner, but his full name is Gunner Leafington McClintock the First. And everybody chose a name. My youngest son chose Gunner. My oldest son chose Leafington, and then my lady friend, my significant other, she chose McClintock. And that's his name. So it was a team effort. But that's the reason why the dogs are in the story. And I actually did my best to be able to replicate the personalities the best that I can. Like Sweetie, the female dog, she is petty. She is mercurial. She is prone to mood swings and just complete irrational anger. Not like rage, but it's like there's many times where Winston's just sleeping one side of the couch, and then she'll be on the opposite side of the room. He could be sleeping for an hour. Then she looks across the room, and then she sees him, and she's like, oh, I'm not having any of this. And she'll go across. Winston, who's just passed out, not doing anything. She just goes up to him, climbs on the couch right next to him, and just starts growling at him. But let's see here. There's the chat on YouTube. A Toasted Toasty and a Kiru talking about props. making the props actually is the fun part. I'll hurry and just detour over in that direction. Like making the props is the fun part. Like it's like there's like anybody who has a 3D printer knows that there's a certain like a simple excitement that the Neanderthal part of your brain experiences when like watching it just get a little bit taller, watching it get a little bit closer to finishing. Like you go down there and it's like suddenly you start to see it take form. And sometimes you'll just stare at it. That's addicting. You need to be careful when you have a 3D printer because sometimes you just stare at it, just almost like maybe staring at it will make it go faster. But really what it boils down to is just like I like making the armor. I like taking the pictures. Like all of Spaceman McMann it's an accumulation of my overall effort, like my overall drive to create. I love making things. And I like being physically capable as well. I like knowing things. Like the reason why, like the thing that made it so that I ended up being Stitch was because I wanted to be good with guns. I wanted to be good with gear. I wanted to be good with technique. I wanted to be able to do all of these things. And I just went out and I did them. And then of course I combined them with my primary skill sets, which is video and photography. And then that carried me everywhere else. So, and it's relaxing too, Iron Void. That's like what I do is I leave my mornings for my mornings are there primarily for like more intellectually intensive tasks, things that where I have to operate on my computer, where I'm editing or I am working in Photoshop or where I'm writing. Every day I write 1,000 words at least. I write at least 1,000 words at least. But then if I'm writing script or I'm writing story, then I end up writing even more than that. But each day starts off just like that. And but I love creating because and creating across a broad spectrum of things. Because it's cool to see nothing and then suddenly there's something. Like that is a cool feeling. And that's the reason why I do what I do. And that's the reason, and it's nice to be able to do something and then have people receive it positively. Like, and that's one of the that's another one of the my favorite reasons about having been Stitch in COD is I love the fact that people have enjoyed the character as much as they have. Because I remember like I put a lot of thought into them. I put a lot of work into them. These are 12-hour days where I was completely suited up. I put in some days it was hard, but for me it's 5 years ago it did not matter to me. Like I was uncomfortable. One time I was soaking wet. Another time I was boiling hot, but I didn't care because this it was Call of Duty we're talking about, and not only did they get to be in Call of Duty, but I got to be, I would say I got to be the coolest character in the game. When you look at other characters, you'll have characters that you know who they are. The only other characters who really had unique looks, for me it's Ghost. Ghost has a very unique look. Like you can look at Ghost and know that it's Ghost. I felt like as far as villains go, of course I'm biased, but Stitch is one of a kind. I would not have chosen any other character to be than Stitch. I have canvas prints around the house of me suited up as Stitch that I can't show you because it's NDA territory. But I haven't printed out on canvases up in the house because I like to, as I walk through my house, I like to remind myself of what I've done. I like to be able to look at Stitch and see that, because knowing that Stitch, the character, impacted people in a positive way. Winston, do you need to go potty outside? Hey, just a second. No. All right. So I have two more dogs that probably have to get out there as well. But I appreciate that, Iron Void. Sketchbook, that's awesome. I appreciate that because there's one thing that I haven't done and I won't do is I struggle with self-promotion, and here's the reason why. because I don't. It's like I'm not a salesman. I'm not trying to sell myself. I'm not a commodity. What I enjoy most is being able to hop on video games with people who I like playing video games with. I like being able to interact with people, have positive interactions, be able to do cool things. I mean, it's like I like being a part of things. And the moment you go out and you start trying to sell yourself, the moment you start to say things like and subscribe, or you start trying to spread the word about, like, it's almost like it's like I don't want people to feel like I look at them as nothing more than a potential set of eyes. Like, in the same way that, you know, that social media, in the same way that advertisers look at the rest of us, they just look at us as a set of eyes that will make them money. Like, and I don't like that, which is the reason why I don't promote myself the way that I think that I would have to in order to be able to have a larger following. But I'm okay with my following. In fact, I love my following, because even though I don't have a huge following, that means that I get to be able to interact with everybody. That means I get to be able to actually know them personally. I get to be able to experience things in a lot of ways. I get to be able to experience all the excitement the same way that they do, and it's like I wouldn't have it any other way. The reason why I'm doing stuff like Spaceman McMann is because I want to be able to create things that people can experience on a personal level. Create things that involve characters that like watching Fallout, like creating characters where people want to be able to know what happens to them, where people care about what their story turns out to be. That is a difficult thing to do, but it's like that's what I want to accomplish. Oh yeah, Iron Void. I remember the first time that I saw the Yard Dog kit, and I was blown away. I was like, this is a good look, because something makes sense, because it's like, you know, stitches in the mouth. You know, it's like, get it, but and you know, Mystique, and that's the reason why I call you Mystique, because I know you as Mystique. You know, your name on YouTube is different, but it's like I know you as Mystique. Oh yeah, so Vampirizer, like, yeah, that first Warzone was something different. That was like I do miss that original Warzone. I know that technically, like on a technical level, it was like there's a lot of improvements to Warzone 2, but those early years of Warzone were something different. Now Iron Void, I'm not sure who designed the Yard Dog look. Because the first time that Stitch came out, I was able to figure out who designed him. Like, I know that, like, the Stitch's primary designs, in particular the prisoner loadout from Cold War and the redacted loadout from Cold War, those were designed by a guy named Chris Paget. And like, his art is outstanding. He does a lot of incredible concept art, and he's the one who designed Stitch's kits, those ones. I know that the model for the prisoner loadout was like the actual 3D model from the neck down. The 3D model was put together by Mike Curran, and he's a senior artist over at Treyarch. And he's a good guy too. I've been able to have a few conversations with him, and he's a great guy. Now my face was fully put together by, I think it was a French 3D sculptor. You'd be able to find him on Google, but he doesn't use social media much. Man after my own heart. He doesn't use social media much, so he doesn't post too much. But if you were to look it up, he posted some of his stuff on ArtStation. Not without the mask, unfortunately. But if you go to my Instagram page, you'll be able to see me without the mask. But I can understand why they wouldn't take the mask off of Stitch. But I do have to say that I would enjoy seeing all of this. I would enjoy seeing all of that in the game. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I like seeing myself in Warzone. I like seeing myself in COD, and I like looking at the pictures on my cell phone that I shouldn't have taken, but I won't delete. I like seeing those pictures of what I looked like, during when Cold War was first in production, and again, it was something else. And but the ability to be able to create something, to be able to give life to something. Now, Stitch was a team effort. There's so many people worked on Stitch. Oh man, Cold War is gonna be 5 years old this Thursday. We're gonna have to do something special. We'll figure it out. But I actually, this stream took this stream took a massive detour, and I couldn't be happier about it. This was good. Van Kreyzer, you and me both. And absolutely Iron Void. I'm gonna start posting a lot of stuff. You have to have being able to post regularly on social media is tough because you have to put the post together. But then you have to choose between actually progressing on the story or putting together stuff for social media. And the problem there is that if you're constantly putting stuff together for social media instead of actually progressing the story, then the story doesn't get completed, and you just have a bunch of random content. But now the story is at some good places, and now I've gotten into enough of a flow where I can actually go about, taking a break, taking maybe an hour or two in the afternoon, and shifting gears, and then putting together some social content. Because let me say, shifting gears, like from say working on props to working on the computer, that's hard. That is difficult. Getting back into the mindset, balancing everything else in life, like going to the gym, things like that. Shifting gears is actually probably the hardest thing in doing all these things. And when you're shifting gears between that many things, between props and armor and taking pictures and video and then working on the computer, I mean, it's a lot. So, but I love doing it, and I love the way that it's turned out. So, next stream I'm gonna have to show. I'll have to show some of it off because it's turning out pretty awesome. So, but I do have to go because I have a prior engagement that I must tend to. So, but this is good. If there's anything that you guys would like to be able to see on other streams like this, because I'm going to be doing this is going to be the main format from now on, and video gaming will just be a part of it. So if you guys want to be able to actually, if you have any ideas on things that you would like to see, as it pertains to things that I actually know how to do, and there is going to be Kreyzer's Kitchen, by the way, and I don't really know how to cook very well. I can cook adequately, but trying to cook overly complex dishes and overly complex dishes on Hell's Kitchen, and not being that good at cooking, that's part of the fun. I'm going to be doing that, so stay tuned for that. Now I have this entire setup done, and I'm happy with the way that it looks. The lighting is good, the presentation is good, and now it's just a matter of getting it done. So everybody, Neo Unknown, Iron Void, Sketchbook, Mystique, Kiru, Toasted Toasty, all of you. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. This is actually, for me, this has been one of the... Oh, and Van Kreyzer, thank you very much, because I can't scroll through. I think this has been one of my favorite... streams that I've ever done. And I just stood up here. And then once I get into the groove of the actual schedule itself, of current events, and then projects that I'm working on, then it's gonna run a lot more smoothly, and it's going to be the sort of thing where it'll be the most important thing that I can do is to make what I do worth your time. And if there's anything particular that you'd like to see, then drop by the Discord, send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll include it. That's part of the fun of doing this, is that it's adaptive. I can do anything up here that I want to. I have all of the space, so it's going to be incredible. So and I have zero reservations in using that word because it's going to be fun. It's going to be whatever we want it to be. So absolutely, Sketchbook. I'm definitely going to be showing off a lot more of it, and I'm definitely going to be picking your brain on 3D modeling because I feel like I'm good, but I am far from being excellent. So hopefully you don't regret offering that up. So Van Kreyzer, Iron Void, Sketchbook, Neo Unknown, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. And then if you ever feel like jumping over to the YouTube channel to be able to actually see what that looks like with the two cameras, then MJ Kreyzer on YouTube. And then everybody else, Mystique, Kiru, Top, and maybe Nick is still in there. Toasty, I really appreciate it. All of you have yourselves a great night. And the stream will be probably starting a little bit later tomorrow because I normally don't have my boys on Tuesdays, but it's Veterans Day, and apparently that's on the schedule. So the stream is going to happen tomorrow. It'll just be a little bit different, at a little bit different time. So keep an eye on your notifications, and you'll be able to know. But thank you so much, everybody. I seriously appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow at a currently unknown time, but I will be streaming because it's a Tuesday, and streams happen. So everybody, you have yourselves a great night, and I will talk to you next time. And then, you see, the stream deck is slow. Let's see. I'm just going to have to do it.